Hello and welcome to Cybersecurity Awareness TV, episode number 447, recorded January 20th, 2024, folks. Wow, again, Happy New Year to everyone, and hopefully everyone have a prosperous year this year as well. This is Cybersecurity Awareness TV, and I'm Professor Mac Jackson Jr. I navigate you through the landscape of the digital solutions and digital threats that are going on out there that affects all of our businesses. And I want to let you know that we provide information on this show that can help protect you from the fastest growing crimes of the 21st century. And you can find out more by visiting my website at macjacksonjr.com. That's macjacksonjr.com. In today's episodes, we're going to talk about AI, folks, artificial intelligence. That is becoming the biggest threat now in the landscape of cyber and cybersecurity. How AI, artificial intelligence, the good, the bad, and the ugly. As the elections this year comes closer and closer in November, the sophisticated use of artificial intelligence in cyber attacks is growing, and it's become a very serious threat to our landscape in our society. Cybersecurity experts warn that the advent of leveraging AI to infiltrate corporate networks and tampering with the election systems is definitely a threat that we should be concerned about. The emerging breed of cybersecurity threats have adopted to spreading information and weaponizing it, folks. And what do I mean by this? Well, a lot of questions I've been getting on this are how can this information be weaponized? It's weaponized using disinformation. That's right, folks, disinformation. The capability of creating fake videos, fake audio, and fake text files that are controlled by AI, not human-driven at all, to change one's opinion, our decisions when it comes to our elections. So it's very, very important, folks, that we maintain an awareness of these types of threats. And like a previous president once said, trust but verify, folks. Everything that you get, every information you receive, text messages, emails, phone calls, even watching the news. That's right, folks, even watching the news. You must watch the news, but make sure when you watch the news, vet everything you see. Do not trust and make a quick draw decision based upon just a little bit of information you see. For more on this, I have a story to share with you coming to us from CBS News. Here it is.
After a year of explosive growth in artificial intelligence, we are still in the early stages of understanding the threats around its use. And in 2024, experts say the U.S. is facing increasing threats, especially during a crucial election year. So for more on this, we're joined by Sean Henry. He's a former FBI Executive Assistant Director and is now the Chief Security Officer of CrowdStrike Services. Good to see you. Happy New Year.
Glad to be here. Happy New Year to you as well.
So, I mean, we talked about this a lot during the last election back in 2020. We talked about it in 2016. How has the threat evolved going into 2024?
It goes back even longer than that. Foreign adversaries have been targeting our election process for many years, trying to disrupt the democracy, trying to create chaos and sow division in the U.S. populace. And when we look at what they're doing now, there are multiple nation states that are engaged in this type of activity. It's a big concern going into 2024.
How organized is it? I mean, are we thinking about some guy in his mother's basement in a hoodie, or are we thinking about, foreign actors orchestrated by governments?
It's both, but I think the biggest threat, of course, is nation states who have an incredible capability from a technical perspective. They've got a lot of resources. They can scale. They've got clear motivation, and they're actively engaged in a 24/7 threat to the U.S. democracy and democracies abroad. There are more than 40 big democratic elections around the world: India, Mexico, South Africa, Taiwan, among others. And these nations want to disrupt democracies, not just in the U.S., although that's a major target.
So it's so interesting, Sean, because on one hand, you're talking about nation states that are perpetrating these cyber attacks. And let's just separate, for example, the threat of misinformation on the internet as we go into this election. You've got our laws that protect freedom of speech, but that law is being exploited by these state nefarious actors to pump out this misinformation. So does the FBI or does the federal government see a responsibility by the owners of these big tech companies? I'm talking about the Elons of the world. I'm talking about the Mark Zuckerbergs, to try and police or even prevent these, because we're talking, people don't realize that there are like farms, rooms of like dozens, if not hundreds of people that are pumping out misinformation on the internet. And a gullible populace, I'm sorry to use that word, but that's sometimes what it feels like, is just absorbing that and then making decisions that have real-world implications.
Yeah, I think certainly companies have a responsibility to ensure that the data that's being pushed out, that there's some level of authenticity to it. I think at the end of the day, it comes down to the American public who has to decide what's accurate and not. People have to look at the source of the information, the validity of the information, who's putting it out, what's their motivation. I think an educated consumer is really going to be the most important way to overcome some of these threats.
Yeah, but when it comes to consumption and people may be checking the source, but maybe they've lost trust or faith in other sources that have deemed reputable. I mean, major news organizations put out information because they have standards departments and they have rules and regulations that they follow in order to authenticate information. What would you say to those people who are maybe dismayed?
Yeah, the bad guys don't have regulations. They don't have to follow the law. That's a huge problem. You know, we use AI to actually identify malicious AI too. There's this constant cat and mouse game. Every time there's an innovation in technology, somebody looks for a way to overcome it, and this goes back and forth. So we'll be able to use AI to identify that. I think that's going to happen at the macro level. Governments are going to become more involved. There will be a bit better education process as we get closer to the election. But this is something that's not going away. These adversaries are, they're motivated. They've got a clear intent to disrupt what happens here in the United States, and we've got to be concerned about that.
All right.
Sean Henry, thank you very much. Appreciate it as always.
Thank you.
Folks, as we can see, artificial intelligence is enhancing the cyber threats. And it has done this for years, but especially last year in 2023, the advent cause of cyber attacks hindered by artificial intelligence has increased in all industries, right? And they're saying, they meaning us, the cybersecurity experts, that it will be very intense in 2024. This surge of sophisticated cybersecurity attacks impose several different questions, especially for large organizations. As you know, large organizations are now bringing IT, cybersecurity to the C-level group, right? We have things like CIOs, the Chief Information Officers, and we have CISOs, CISOs, which are the Chief Information Security Officers. Well, there's talk now that these two departments, two C-level groups, should actually merge, become one, because the threat of cyber in large organizations is so sophisticated that it affects every department of a company. And now corporations are investing more money in understanding cyber, but they're not investing enough. They're investing more in AI and artificial intelligence because it will increase productivity and affect hiring of employees, things of that nature, or as they say, yada, yada. But the interest in security is something that all organizations must be concerned about and participate in more. So we must build defenses in AI. Another story I'd like to bring to you comes to us from our friends over at Bloomberg Technologies. Check this one out.
It feels as though it's a bit of a murky outlook for 2024 when it comes to cybersecurity.
What has happened is that everybody is realizing that cyber attacks are inevitable. And every organization in the world has already been penetrated. And the latest news around China and the US proves that point. So everybody has to think about how do they plan to prepare to recover and be resilient against cyber attacks, be it is nation-state actors or somebody's board in their basement attacking large corporations. And that's the landscape we are looking at for the next year.
Let's spare a thought this holiday season, Caroline, for the CISO or the CIO. And I'm not talking about Chief Investment Officer. Here on Bloomberg Technology, we're talking about Chief Information Officer, right? If something goes wrong, they're the first people you blame in the context of a cyber attack. People, is the CISO, Chief Information Security Officer or CEO, going to be the hero of the C-suite in 2024?
I personally believe that the CIOs and CISOs' job is merging because there is no IT without security. And if you look at the evolution of the job of the CIO is to put together a set of services for the business to reduce the risk. And CISOs plays a major role. But the challenge is that the cyber has emerged to be a big risk. And the couple of latest cases where CISOs have been personally responsible for cyber attacks. So in some ways, they are the heroes as well as they are the victim. So I feel that the discussion has to be reframed where instead of just focusing on preventing attack and stopping attack, CISOs has to be thinking about how do I recover because attacks are inevitable. And that's the landscape.
Understandably, many CISOs and CIOs watch this program, and so if you're out there and you are working at a technology company, give a bit of support this holiday season to your CISO or CIO. Where the attacks are targeting, you talk about sort of edge devices. What we mean is routers, points of vulnerability in IT infrastructure. Why do they focus attacks there?
Attackers are going after the easiest way to enter. In many cases, attackers are not hacking in, they are logging in. They are actually playing with our emotions to get our credentials and then log in and to do the damage. Stopping attack is impossible because there are just so many ways to get in because the volume of data, velocity, variability of the data has gone beyond human comprehension. So the question is, what is the strategy to be able to recover and be resilient against attack? And everybody has to focus on that. That's how the CISOs will succeed, and that's how we'll succeed in the new year.
You're also potentially going to be IPOing in the new year. How's that going?
I mean, we are focused again on building a long-term business. I will leave the IPO to the experts. I can't comment on it.
Folks, it's amazing out there what's going on with AI, artificial intelligence. And let's dive into that a little bit more. Artificial intelligence. What does this mean for the non-techies? Artificial intelligence is when you have bots, you have computers that have billions and billions, okay, of bits of information that we humans have stored electronically. And we're allowing our computer systems to make these decisions for us because we've already made these decisions. We've created precedents almost in every area, in every industry. But now, since this information lies within databases, bots, robots, computers, AI, artificial intelligence can gather this information to assist mankind to become what? More productive, to make less errors, because we want to make sure that in our future, we don't want to make the errors we made that we have created from the past. So that's why we have artificial intelligence. One of the reasons to help us out. But the bad guys see that as well. If the AI, the robots, the computers, can be programmed to do good for society, they can also be programmed to do bad, to be the bad guys. We must stay vigilant, folks, about this technology. And the best way is to understand what AI is, how it can affect our business, and how it can affect our futures, and what we could do to stay aware and stay on top of what's going on. Folks, this is very, very, very critical that we do this and we learn more, like this show and other shows like this. Another story I want to present to you, that this is a global situation, folks, a global situation you all should be aware of. Here's another story coming to us from our friends over at Global News. Check this one out.
There's no question scams are becoming more and more sophisticated, and cybersecurity experts are warning artificial intelligence in the hands of criminals is becoming a game changer. With more, we'll bring in Consumer Matters' Ann Drua, who's been looking into this issue. Ann?
Thanks, Chris. When it comes to scams for 2024, many cybersecurity experts say AI-generated fraud tops the list. Criminals are quickly learning how to exploit this technology, which means it's getting more and more difficult to know what is real and what is not.
A functioning shopping cart that you can go down and click on the products and get.
This may look like a legitimate online shopping site equipped with merchandise, a login and checkout feature, but none of it is real. Cybersecurity expert Chester Wisniewski represents Sophos, a global security research firm. In an effort to raise awareness about the dark side of artificial intelligence, his colleagues doing research at a security conference were able to use AI to generate this entirely fake e-commerce site in about 7 minutes at a cost of about $8.
Simply something looking legitimate doesn't make it real.
And that's a serious concern going forward. With advances in AI, experts predict scams will become increasingly more sophisticated and deceptive. In fact, experts warn the telltale signs of a scam now no longer apply.
We used to tell people to watch out for spelling and grammar mistakes. We used to tell people to watch out for things that didn't quite match the right imagery or logos or different things of brands that they trust and follow. Those kind of telltale signs have been wiped away by artificial intelligence.
I am not Morgan Freeman, and what you see is not real.
The fakes are getting good enough that it's hard for a normal person to be able to tell the difference.
What's up, Internet? I'm north of the border, eh?
One scam in particular, which Nevsky expects to see more of in 2024, is the romance scam, which is now being replaced with chatbots, programmed through AI to have human-like conversations.
It used to be a human was on the other end pretending to be the interested person on the dating site or whatever it was, and that's now being replaced with these chatbots, which is allowing them to scale up. Once we see it become automated like this, that allows the criminals to do these large-scale attacks at scale.
As for those annoying fraudulent phone scams and text messages, they won't be going away. In fact, they'll likely get worse. AI technology can clone voices, even of family members, which means fraudsters can customize their attacks. Your best defense? Be skeptical.
Go take a look, find legitimate sources to confirm things if they don't seem right to you, because your instincts are probably correct.
That is so true. And when it comes to protecting yourself from AI-related scams, avoid unsolicited emails and text messages. Don't click on links and avoid sharing personal information. Use caution when answering the phone call. Try calling a trusted family member directly if you need help. When shopping online, go to legitimate sites you know and trust. Also report any scams to the Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre. And if you have a consumer issue for me, there's my email address at consumermatters@globalnews.ca.
Folks, the recent CNBC survey revealed that the trend over half of organizations now, corporate organizations, have inquired about using advanced AI software like Microsoft's Copilot. You guys have heard of that? Well, it's out now. Microsoft has a application now called Copilot, which is an AI advanced technology used to enhance their other apps within AI itself. Now, this is great for a lot of organizations. You'll have AI. Think about this. Now your applications with Microsoft, like your Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Microsoft Outlook, all of it now can be governed and have an AI bot to help you become more productive. This is great, right? Yes, we all like this advent of having this advanced technology to use in our systems and what we're doing. But again, we must, and like I tell my students, let me just pause for a second, let me tell you this. Like I tell my students, you must maintain critical thinking at the human level. If you are studying anything and then you regurgitate it out for a certificate or for a degree and you don't put any human thought behind it, you will be replaced by a bot. You have to maintain the conscious, moral, human instincts, and that's become a critical thinker. So think about that, folks. Become a critical thinker. The power of AI is absolutely amazing. We must have it. It's our future, but we must understand its power. Here's another story I want to present to you, coming to us from CNBC.
We're going to turn our attention now over to tech, with the sector trading in record territory thanks to the rally in the Magnificent Seven stocks, which are, of course, by about 1/3 of the S&P's entire market cap. But with AI being the buzzword of 2023 and likely of 2024, will a massive investment cost end up paying off for investors? Our own Steve Kovac joins me now with much more. Steve, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Frank. Yeah, so we surveyed members of the CNBC Tech Executive Council on their spending plans in IT and more on AI. And the results, this comes from council members made up of CTOs, CIOs, and tech CEOs. Well, they're looking to accelerate their spending in artificial intelligence. Let's break down the numbers of what we learned. More than half of them, 59%, say their companies are accelerating investments in AI capabilities. Everyone else, they're still evaluating their AI spending, but being more cautious about it. But look, no one, 0%, is ignoring AI altogether. Another interesting bit out of this survey, 41% say they plan to spend the most capital on AI over the next 12 months. Only 9% said the most would go to cybersecurity. I found that a little surprising because, you know, in the light of the slew of hacking reports we've been getting recently, and likely more to come with those new SEC rules. So where does that spending go? We asked these members about enterprise-level AI. Those are the chatbots being sold by companies like Microsoft and Salesforce. More than half of them, 55%, said they plan to purchase enterprise AI software, and soon, within the next 6 months. That's really good news for Microsoft and its pricey Copilot for Office apps. And soon others, like Google Workspace, could benefit as well, Frank.
You know, Steve, I actually was a little bit surprised by that last number, that 55% plan to buy enterprise AI software in the next year. I thought every company was just moving towards AI to, increase efficiency and optimize their operations.
Yeah, and I've been talking a lot to decision makers over the last several months who, CTOs and the like, who would be buying this software from Microsoft. And one of the concerns they bring up is, they kind of want to see how it works in the real world first before kind of making that big investment. Keep in mind, Frank, it is expensive. It's $30 per seat per month. That is a huge investment, and Microsoft hasn't really proven yet. They've made promises that it will increase productivity. So one thing, they want to see how it works. The other thing, they're still concerned about data security, despite the fact Microsoft guarantees, it's all stuck in this container, it's encrypted, and so on and so forth. You can't share any data that you normally wouldn't share with Microsoft, but still a little caution with this new technology. So there are a lot of factors at play here, but the fact that so many of them are planning to spend within the next 6 months, that's all Microsoft. There's really not too many other competitors out there, and Microsoft has such a strong foothold in enterprise software, Frank.
Hey folks, Bill Gates, speaking to the World Economic Forum in Davos, held a conference regarding AI, artificial intelligence. He calls it the biggest productivity advances in our lifetime, right? The biggest productivity advances in our lifetime. Gates sees AI as something that our society and country can utilize, and all over the world. However, there is a digital divide. There are countries and there are people that will stay behind because they're not understanding what AI advancements can do. In other words, folks, just like we've always had in our society, the have and the have-nots, the people who are the elite, the advanced people with all the technology, and the others who are missing on the technology. And as Bill Gates says, it's AI that will help productivity for the good, but there will be the bad guys that will use AI to strike against us. Again, the landscape is changing, and we must stay vigilant, folks. We must stay vigilant. Here's a report for you I'd like to share with you, coming to us from Bloomberg Television.
Well, AI, I'd say that it's going to raise productivity generally. In normal capital markets with great competition from Microsoft and Google will drive that, and you should all pay attention because it is so dramatic how it improves white-collar productivity, and later with the robotics, not yet, but eventually blue-collar productivity. So that is phenomenal for the world. The world will be richer and, can work less and have more. The place where it's with equity, and we have a huge commitment to make sure there's not this normal 20-year lag between benefit to the rich versus to developing countries, is that there's a bigger teacher shortage in Africa than elsewhere, a bigger doctor shortage. And so not only will we invent new tools using AI, like the ultrasound, we will provide health advice and directly, in their local African language, fully tailored to the conditions in those countries. We will provide an AI doctor. We will provide an AI tutor. And already we've funded lots of Africans to do pilot studies and to take the very best technology and get it out at about the same time as it'll happen in the rich world. In fact, in a few cases, rich world regulations may make it roll out slower than in countries like India or in Africa. So it's a race, but it's a race for good. And I couldn't be more thrilled. It's a case where my ongoing work with Microsoft, helps me understand how we take this into the developing countries.
So, but overall, you're net positive on AI in general, globally. AI
is a brilliant tool for people to be more productive. Now, it means the bad guys will be more productive, so they can do more cyber attacks, so they can design weapons. You always, the internet, the microprocessor, all these things helped everybody be more efficient, including the bad guys. And so you've got to make sure the best AI for cyber defense or measures to defend against bioterrorism are in the hand of the good guys. And it's a challenge, but people sometimes lose sight of the fact that this is the biggest productivity advance in our lifetimes.
Folks, in the emerging digital landscape, The rapid adoption of advanced artificial intelligence presents significant cybersecurity challenges. As corporations accelerate through their AI investments, notably technology like Microsoft's Copilot and others face the increasing threats of AI cyber attacks. These sophisticated attacks captures the creating convincing fake content that we must stay aware of this thing, especially in 2024. While AI enhances productivity and efficiency, the disproportionate focus is on AI's development of cybersecurity, and companies must invest in protecting AI from cyber threats, right? We have AI, which is great, but companies must invest in cybersecurity to offset the bad guys that are looking to have this type of technology to create harm. That's very important, folks. Important to us all in our society. Folks, criminals will always look for ways to exploit individuals and businesses to obtain information, because information is the new currency, folks. It's the new money, and that's the amount of information that you have about individuals. We must stay aware and we must stay concerned. We'll be back, folks, here at Cybersecurity Awareness TV after these messages. Hi, folks. This is Mac Jackson Jr. from Cybersecurity Awareness TV. I'm here to tell you today about Dr. Aki Akimi from Vegas Direct Primary Care. As healthcare costs are on the rise, Dr. Akimi takes the time to explain and recommends lifestyle changes to improve your health and your well-being. She is very attentive and knowledgeable, and she listens, folks, to what your needs are and help you get to the healthcare that you deserve. Dr. Akimi would suggest things like food is the best medicine. That's what she says. I want to give praises out to her and thank her for her support here with me, as well as the Las Vegas community. Thank you, Dr. Akimi. Hello, folks. This is Mac Jackson Jr. from Vanderson Cyber Group. The problem with businesses today is that they are affected by cyber attacks from around the world, but companies are not sure of what to do. Normally, they are reactive instead of proactive. But folks, cyber attacks can affect your bottom line, and it will affect you financially, legally, and your business reputation. Here at Vanderson Cyber Group, we can help you develop a policy by training your employees on what to do if they are involved in a cyber attack and how to mitigate it and fight against it. Folks, we call it here #StayCyberWoke. And that's Vanderson Cyber Group here in Las Vegas and around the world. You can reach me, folks, at VandersonCyberGroup.com or my website, MacJacksonJr.com as well. Here locally, 702-868-0808. Give us a call today, folks. We must fight back. Folks, today's digital age, protecting your business from cyber threats is more critical than ever before. So go to my website, folks, at MacJacksonJr., that's MacJacksonJr.com, and sign up for my newsletter and find out more about cybersecurity threats and what you can do to protect yourselves. But also, folks, I want to let you know that I've made some updates to my business resources on my website at MacJacksonJr.com. Under my business resources, you will find a plethora of information regarding how to protect your VPNs. Remember the virtual private networks we talked about? What is a password manager? We have that on there. And also, I am a reseller now with KnowBe4. That's KnowBe4, a company created by Kevin Mitnick, the leading cybersecurity expert. KnowBe4 and its testing procedures can help your organization and your employees understand cybersecurity threats, sort of like phishing and ransomware. I have all types of information like that that you could download and test yourself, test your company, and see what's going on in your business. Go to my website again at MacJacksonJr.com, folks, MacJacksonJr.com. Folks, that's all we have for our show today. I want you guys to, again, stay cyber aware. Again, find out more about my business. Again, my company's name is Vanderson Cyber Group. That's Vanderson Cyber Group. Folks, we provide cybersecurity awareness education for your business, training your employees how to be more cybersecurity aware of what's going on. 24/7, folks, we provide that. And remember, if you're watching us on YouTube, don't forget, folks, to share, like, and hit that subscribe button, and definitely support us here at WWDB TV as well. Until next week, folks, stay cyber aware. See you then.